Live from CBS 2 Election Headquarters, Chicago Decides.
Welcome back to our live election coverage as Chicago decides the next mayor of Chicago. I'm Erica Sargent.
And I'm Joe Donlin. Let's take a look at the latest numbers in that race for mayor because they have flipped as we have proceeded through the evening. Look at this. We now have 92%. And Brandon Johnson is building on his lead. It was just about 3,700 or 3,800 votes at 90%. He has now ballooned that into just about 7,000.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the Vallas campaign headquarters to test the mood there tonight. CBS 2's Jim Williams and Marie Saavedra standing by at the Hyatt Regency Chicago Ballroom. Jim and Marie.
Well, needless to say, I would say folks here in the ballroom at the Vallas headquarters are very concerned right now.
I think so.
But one of the things that one of the organizers of tonight's event said was there are too many votes left to be counted, too many mail-in votes left to be counted, and they expect Mr. Vallas to come down at some point and say it's too close to call tonight.
That's at least just what we're hearing from the crowd as we're walking around and looking at the room. A big crowd here, a lot of people glued to the screens watching these numbers as they come in. I think that there was still a lot of hope, a fair amount of hope when it was only 1,000 votes separating them. Now, as Johnson has pulled more ahead, we're hearing as we're talking with supporters of Vallas, including Aldermen Tom Tunney, that there seems to be a little bit more concern, possibly resignation, hoping that there would have been a lot more distance between these two men. And of course, those who were supporting Vallas felt that Vallas would come out on top.
You know, and they're also saying that, look, we don't know where these precincts are.
That's the big question.
That's the $64,000 question. Where are the precincts where the votes have not been counted yet? So I think it's fair to say no one here is throwing in the towel, but they are concerned.
We have been working to ask the Vallas campaign what those precincts are. We here at CBS 2 are also trying to figure that out. Like you said, it's the big question. But that's going to be the most telling because we know there are a lot of areas that were Vallas strongholds, northwest side, downtown, southwest side. And if those continue to show up for him tonight, it's saying something. But if some of these wards that either went for Johnson or flipped to Johnson are what we're looking at tonight, certainly a different scene. It also, we have to say, it's telling that we haven't heard much from the Vallas campaign tonight as we've continued to reach out.
Now, you might wonder when Mr. Vallas plans to come down and address the crowd. We don't know. We don't have a specific time yet.
On that note, exactly. But we're continuing to talk to his supporters here, finding out more information as these numbers come in. The second we hear about any sort of information about him coming down, we will be sure to give you some more information.
And listen, I want to ask our funds in the control room, our producers, do we have that interview that I just did with Alderman Tom Tunney? Okay, let's go to that.
It's a surprise for me as someone who's worked hard for Paul Vallas. I think he's the better of the two candidates. But the voters decide. That's what democracy is about. So we'll see. There's still, 10% out and the mail-in votes. So I think there's still hope for Paul.
Did you expect the race to be this close?
Well, as I said, as a candidate myself, we always run like we're 10 points behind. So things have always been close within the margin of error, so, a lot can happen. And I think, I thought actually over the last week or so that Paul's strength was gaining strength, especially because I thought Brandon floundered a little bit on his finances and some other things. But, at the end of the day, if Brandon is successful, probably because he had a better ground game and better organized CTU and volunteers all over the place.
I'm joined now with Alderman Brian Hopkins, who's been with us. We're going to use this mic. Thank you. We just grabbed him. We're here trying to get some more information. How are things looking tonight? You've been here not only in support of Paul Vallas as a candidate, but helping set things up. How are you looking at the numbers right now, and what is it telling you?
Well, we knew it was going to be close. There was really very little doubt about that. All our tracking polls going into this, that this was a close race. Paul had a lead at one point, but it wasn't really a large lead. So we were prepared for this. We knew that it was possible we wouldn't get a decision tonight. And I have to say this, these two campaigns have disagreed on a lot of things, but one thing that they really both promoted equally was the convenience of mail-in balloting. Both campaigns went to their core voters and said, it doesn't get any easier than this. There's no lines, there's no dealing with the polling place. Request your mail-in ballot and send it in. Not only that, but we followed up on that to make sure people mailed in their ballot after they got it and didn't put it in with the bills and forget to pay it. So as a result of this, we have a much higher percentage of mail-in votes that got sent in at the last minute. And it's outstanding, and we're not going to be able to count them for possibly days.
Right.
So that's the downside to promoting mail-in voting. But frankly, we're never going back to the old way, where you have long lines of in-person voting. And as a campaign, I think we're prepared to accept a little bit of a delay to provide that convenience for the voters.
Are you expecting that it's these mail-in ballots that are the bulk of the outstanding numbers right now, or do you know of any precincts that still need to be counted?
Well, we know that the mail-in ballots are going to determine this race at this point. It's too close to call right now, and there's literally tens of thousands of envelopes unopened. How those ballots are going to go. Will they go for Paul? Will they go for Brandon? You'd need a crystal ball to accurately predict that. But until we count them, we really can't declare who won this race. It's a little bit like playing the Super Bowl, and after the game, they turn the scoreboard off and say, we're not going to tell you who won the game. Go home, and we'll let you know. So it's a little frustrating, but what can we do?
And no sense from the campaign right now of what areas of the city we are still waiting on?
There's not much that is still outstanding in terms of the in-person voting today. I don't know what areas it's from. I think it's actually scattered throughout the city, so I'm not sure even that geography is going to give us much of a clue regarding how it's going to turn out. We're just going to have to wait till all the mail-in ballots come in and they're all counted, and then we'll declare a winner.
Is there anything that happened within the last week, even days, that led you to think that this race might be as close as it has been?
There was a lot of volatility in the electorate right now. Both Paul and Brandon had strong closing arguments, both of them. They appealed directly to the voters. They appealed to their base. They tried to get that 10% undecided vote that was still out there until the last minute, and frankly, they both did a good job making their case. And now we'll have to see who was the better, more compelling message. Everybody has to sit tight and wait for those envelopes to be opened.
So lastly, what do we expect to hear from Paul Vallas tonight?
Well, right now he's trying to make that decision. I think he and Commissioner Johnson actually have to have a conversation. That hasn't happened yet, but they each have each other's cell numbers. So it's going to happen probably within a matter of minutes, and then we'll have a decision which way to go.
Last we checked, just 8% still out for that vote. Alderman, thank you so much for your input tonight.
Thank you so much.
Joe and Erica, we will send it back to you again. A lot of things changing quickly around here. As you said, Paul Vallas making that decision, or as you just heard, making that decision about what comes next. We can expect possibly a conversation between the candidates within a short amount of time, and we'll let you know if we get any word that he is coming down to the podium for whatever he's going to share with this crowd tonight.
All right. Thank you, Marie, for that insight, and Jim, thank you as well.